So not only is riding bareback a great skill to have, but it also makes you look pretty hardcore. So today I'm going to show you everything you need to know to ride a horse bareback. And before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel for more weekly horse videos. Alright, so I'm going to go get ready to ride real quick. Okay, now we're ready. Okay, now that I'm on my horse, let's cover our first point. So the first point for becoming a better bareback rider is to learn to move your seat with the horse's movements. So you can do this in a saddle or you can do it bareback. It's much more easier to feel the horse's movements bareback, so that's a great place to start. And when you move your seat bareback, that's going to help you feel more secure on them compared to just being stiff and the horse is moving and you're starting to like tip off. But when you move your seat with the horse and you're moving with them, it's way more easier to stay balanced compared to if you're doing something by being stiff and your horse is doing something else. So I'm going to show you guys real quick and then you can go try it on your own. Okay, so first I'm showing you guys what it looks like to not move your seat. So you can see that my seat is not moving at all. My hips are not moving with the horse. I'm just kind of sitting here and it'd be easy for me to get off balance and start leaning one way like this. Start leaning this way. So when I'm moving my seat, if y'all look, I'm moving my hips and you can see my hips swinging with the movement of the horse. So if you take a moment, the horse's walk goes side to side. So I can just swing my hips naturally with the horse. I don't have to force it. I'll just let my body move with how the horse is moving, and it's much more easier to be secure this way. Then when you trot, you can feel that it's more of a up and down. So you can move your seat up and down and make that a much more comfortable ride compared to if you're just stiff and you start bouncing. And see, as soon as I started bouncing, he stopped. So I can move my seat. He'll go forward. Like a boy. Okay, so if you've ever ridden bareback before, you're probably like, wow, this is way different compared to in a saddle, because you don't have all the like constraints and security of the saddle to help you out. And so it's very easy to get stiff when you're riding bareback. The reason you get stiff riding horses is because you're trying to help your balance, but in reality, it doesn't really help that much. And so when you get stiff, you may like get like this and lean on the reins to help your balance, or you may start bouncing like this, but like trying to stay in your stirrups. And so when you do that bareback, it's going to be really uncomfortable. You're going to start bouncing and you're going to start going like this. So it's important to learn how to just relax and stay calm. And so if you're stiff at the walk, if you feel yourself getting stiff and kind of like this at the walk, I recommend not trying to trot or canter. Make sure you get relaxed on the horse first at the walk, and then once you're relaxed, turning, transitioning, everything like that, then you can go and do other gaits like a trot and a canter. So my biggest tip for staying relaxed on your horse while riding bareback is simply to focus on your breathing. So if you're tense like this, your breathing automatically becomes fast and choppy, so you're like, you know, but as soon as you start to focus, you just feel relaxed go through you. And then you like naturally sit back and you can just sit, breathe, and it helps you think more through your movements. So, okay, I'm going to turn my horse. That means I need to, you know, position myself so I'm going to be secure for that turn. So really focus on your breathing can help you relax. And as I mentioned earlier, don't advance until you're ready to go to the next level. Hey buddy, what are you looking at? Okay, so another great way to help you feel more secure on your horse bareback and not get stiff is to have a strong core. And so I hate to break it to y'all, but if you want a strong core, sometimes you're gonna have to do some crunches or some sit-ups and things like that. Your balance comes from your core. So if you have a strong core, you're gonna have a good center of balance, which is gonna make you feel way more secure on the horse compared to if you don't have these muscles, then you're gonna feel more off balance and then you're gonna get stiff. So working these muscles will help a lot. If you haven't ridden bareback a lot and then you suddenly start riding bareback, you're gonna notice that these muscles will be really sore because you are working them to stay balanced. So my next point for helping you ride bareback is to keep your weight in your heels just as you would if you were in a saddle. So the reason you're told to keep your weight in your heels is because it helps center your balance over the horse. So it may not look like my weight is in my heels, but it is. I can guarantee you that. I feel it. So if you're new to riding bareback, you may find that you are gripping the horse with your legs, like with your knees like this, trying to stay on, when in reality, that's gonna make it a lot more easier for you to fall off. So when you put your weight in your heels, your legs will just naturally wrap around the horse and your weight will be down. So that's gonna help secure you and also, you know, keep your legs not as stiff compared to if they're like this, gripping to stay on. So another way you may find that you grip your horse bareback besides gripping with your knee is that you grip with your heels like this. I used to take my mom riding out all the time and we'd go out bareback and our horse would take off and I would see that she's gripping like this. I'm like, well, no wonder that horse is taking off. So it's important to keep your heels down. You don't want to grip with your lower leg because that's actually telling your horse that it's time to go, you know? So you want to make sure you keep your weight down because you'll have control of your leg cues better that way. So another tip for feeling more secure bareback is to make sure your position is correct. Just because you're not in a saddle doesn't mean that your position changes. You want to keep the same position, and when you're in that correct riding position, you're just going to feel more secure and natural on the horse. So that means I'm going to hold my reins right, you know, thumbs up, shoulders back, my leg beneath me, my leg wrapped around the horse, looking up. Then I'll go forward. Keep my elbows at my side, you know, and when you do this, you're just going to feel much more secure compared to like straight legs. My arms aren't going to be bent. I may be like this and I'm slouched. Now you want to sit up, stay as you would in the saddle, and you're going to feel a lot more better about yourself. So my next point is an important one about riding your horse bareback, and it's for your own safety. And that is go at your own pace. If your friends are out galloping around in the field bareback, but you've never ridden bareback, it's probably not the best idea to make that your first thing you do once you get on your horse bareback. You're gonna wanna make sure you're balanced and you're secure at the walk, in the trot, and the canter before you go off galloping bareback. So it's important to work at your own pace and stay at one gait until you feel secure, and then you can go on to the next thing. And before you know it, you'll be jumping, you'll be galloping through the fields, you'll be like, shoot, I could compete doing this. If you want to get good at bareback really fast, the best thing you can do is just ride bareback all the time. So I bet if you rode bareback every day for a week, by the end of the week, you'd probably feel secure enough to just go do whatever you wanted, just because you would have worked those muscles, and those muscles have muscle memory, and then you just would have also learned how to balance yourself in that time frame. So it's really not that hard to pick up. You just have to do it in order to feel secure. I have some days I'm just too lazy to tack up my horse, so I'll ride them bareback for like 3 months before I'm like, okay, maybe I should put a saddle on again. So the next thing I want to share with you guys is some things you can try in the saddle and both out of the saddle to help you build security and balance when you go to ride bareback. So my first point is to take your stirrups off of your saddle and just ride without stirrups, just to help you get used to that feeling of not having that security of the stirrup around your foot if you need it. But that's a great way to help build like your leg muscles and your core. And so once you practice without the stirrups for a while, you're gonna feel much more secure and balanced just over your horse. So when you get on bareback, you're gonna be like, oh, this isn't that bad because I do this all the time in my saddle. So some people will have like one day out of the week where they ride without stirrups just to maintain these muscles and also just to maintain like their center of balance. And so that's a great place to start if you want to start riding bareback. So another thing you can do is practice riding without hands. So I always recommend having an experienced horse person with you to lunge your horse, just so someone's in control in case the horse were to do something. But what you can do is just ride with your hands out at your side, or you can have them out like this. And this is just teaching you not to rely on the pressure of the rein for your balance. Because if you're bareback and you're doing that, you're just going to be yanking on the horse's mouth, and that's not really good. And so this is going to teach you to rely and make your center of gravity over the horse without your reins. So if you can ride without hands for a moment and just learn to balance yourself over your horse without the pressure of the reins, then that will help you ride better bareback. So my last point for helping yourself ride better bareback is to do a lot of transitions and turns. And so if you do not feel balanced in the saddle doing these things, then chances are you aren't going to really feel balanced bareback doing these things. So I recommend taking time to get balanced in the saddle, and then you can go to do these things bareback. If you've never really ridden bareback before, you're going to find these things really difficult. And so just to help you, you can just focus on those things in the beginning. And I'm just going to focus on turning my horse one way, then the other, maybe do a halt to walk transition, and then a walk to trot transition and back down, just to help me learn how to sit on the horse and how to balance myself during those movements. and that will go a long way to help you feel secure on your horse. So let me show you guys what this looks like. So you can just turn my horse. And the way these things are so hard for riders is because it means you have to shift your balance. So when I turn, for example, my balance is shifting to the outside, and that throws a lot of people off. So I can just turn, or I can do a tight turn. Good boy. And then same with the transition. So like, a transition is kind of throw your weight back and your balance back. And so if you're not prepared for it, you may feel like you're flying backwards. And come to a walk, good boy. And so just practicing these things will help you a lot when it comes to just learning how to be secure on your horse bareback and learning how to balance yourself. I can't tell you how many times I fell off bareback just when I went to go do a turn, and you know, the horse would be turning, and of course I'd like go off this way because I'd be, you know, so just good things to practice. So if you're not already subscribed to our channel, we're sharing new horse videos every week. So make sure you go hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you to all of you who have already subscribed, and I'd love to get to know you better. So why don't you leave your horse's name, your name, and how long you've been riding and what discipline you like in the comments, and I'll be sure to get back to you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and happy trails.